Just some relevant halachot, B'ezrat Hashem, before Chanukah begins. There is discussion in some poskim whether or not the gel cups of oil are considered lechatchila or mukdar. What's brought down in the Chazon Ovadia is that the gel cups are 100% lechatchila, mehadrin mina mehadrin. As soon as you light the wick, then the gel becomes liquid, and therefore it's really no worse whatsoever than olive oil. We're talking about a cup with the olive oil as gel, so that's fine lechatchila. In general, when it comes to setting up the menorah, the Sefer Or Halacha brings down, I believe in Kaf Chaim, Palachim, then there's a skula for Banim Tamidei Chamim, righteous and scholarly Tamidei Chamim children, for the wife to set up the candles, whether it means pouring the oil, preparing the wicks. This is considered skula Banim Tamidei Chamim. Anyway, the Gemara says, Masechet Shabbat, Hazahir Baner, and she says, a person who's careful with Ner Chanukah Ner Shabbat, no banim tamidei chamim. So if a person is particular to fulfill the mitzvot, in this case of Ner Chanukah, then it comes with a very, very beautiful skula, if that's possible to arrange. In general, when it comes to a conflict between two mitzvot, we have mitzvah of Avit and mitzvah of Hadakat Nerot, which we can get to the time frame in a second, but we go by the one which is more frequent. The mitzvah which is more frequent takes precedence, and therefore, if at all possible, a person should try to pray Mincha, of course, and Arvit before Hadlakat Nerot Chanukah. What is the proper time frame, the Zman of Hadlakat Nerot Chanukah? Bring down Halacha, then we go by Tzedek Kochavim. If there's a difference of opinion, we go by Tzedek Kochavim. Approximately 20-22 minutes after the Shki'ah is Lechatchil, the time when a person should light, especially during the week, where people sometimes at work, it's difficult for them. So if at all possible, unless people have conflicts and other places to be, that is, according to the Rambam, the only time. Afterwards, there's no mitzvah whatsoever. We don't pass in that way. But the lechatchila time is 22 minutes after the shki'am. That is tzedek kochavim, and that is the appropriate time to light. If a person was not able to, then the next best time is a half hour after that point. So the best time is tzedek kochavim. Next best is a half hour after that point. What if a person, for whatever reason, was not able to light then halacha is he may light kol halayla kulo. He's allowed to light the entire night. If, when he lights, it's so late that the bnei bayit are all sleeping, and there's difference of opinion in the poskim whether or not he can light with the bracha. Ovadia is of the opinion lechatchila, if you're not taking your life into your own hands, lechatchila, you should try to wake up one of the bnei bayit. If it's not nogeam, if it's not shayach, if it's not possible to wake up anyone from the house, then even Adrot HaShachar, a person is allowed to light with a bracha the entire night through. Okay, one more important thing. The mitzvah of Halakat Nerot is to light in an appropriate fashion, meaning as long as you have enough candle or oil to last you a half hour, we say Hadlaka or se mitzvah. By lighting the candles at the right time with the right amount of oil or candle, then that is a fulfillment of the mitzvah, even if unexpectedly the candles are to blow up right away. You're not obligated to relight, because the hadlaka osam mitzvah, you lit properly, even if it doesn't last the minimum half hour requirement, as long as you lit it with enough oil to last, then you fulfill the mitzvah. So what happens sometimes is that there's leftover oil, or in fact one of the lights from the candles does extinguish and you have leftover oil, you have leftover wax, leftover wicks. So if we were to say that those materials are huktzah mitzvah, that they were designated for mitzvah purpose, then it's asur b'hishtamshut, you're not allowed to use it. So a very important recommendation, at the very least at the beginning of Chanukah, but maybe every single time you light, every night also, a person should either mentally, but even better to just verbalize a condition that he's only using the amount for the mitzvah which is required. Meaning if he lights and everything extinguishes, then whatever is left behind is not for the mitzvah and can even be used for personal use. Okay? If you make that condition, I'm just having in mind whatever is necessary to be used for the mitzvah. Anything else is not considered designated for the mitzvah, and it may be used, may be thrown out. B'derech kavod, it's not a problem. It's not huksal mitzvah at that point. One other thing, and we'll recite the Kaddish. We know that the lights of Chanukah, we're not allowed to make use of the light. That means, however, there's a difference between making use of the light versus benefiting from the light. What's the difference? The Halacha brings down that a person may not read the light of the candles. A person may now count money, in other words, to distinguish between different coins using the light of the candle. That's called hishtamshut baner. However, hana'ah, benefit from the ner, is mutar. What would be the most basic example of benefiting from the ner which is allowed? A person is allowed to turn off the lights in the room, and even though, let's say on the 8th night of Chanukah, all of the illumination of the room is coming from the menorah, he's allowed to walk in that room. He does not have to turn on the electric lights, the overhead lights, in order to walk in the room, because that's not called hishtamshut. That's the difference between hishtamshut and hana'ah. Yes, the illumination of the room is coming from the menorah, but he's not utilizing it. He is not making hishtamshut, use of it. Instead, poskim say he's not obligated to turn on light. He may walk in the dark room to the light of the menorah, even though he is not falling because of the light given off by the menorah. That is not in the category of hishtamshut. That is just in the category of hana'ah, and that is mutar.